Hey, welcome to episode 2, where I work with Taylor to help him double his income per hour from $204 to $408 in the next 12 months. In this episode, we talk about how he quantified the value of his Ownwell seats. 100 Ownwell seats equaled $42,000 net commission. His goal to add another 100 people to his Ownwell account. How he's earned $363 an hour net since January 1st. And the surprise that we talk about is the importance of investing in your health and how it correlates to performance. We talk about energy audits as well as some other strategies. And I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation I have with Taylor. I know I really enjoyed it. And hopefully you're taking notes and going, okay, I'm going to apply some of this stuff to my business, because the whole goal of this is to help you scale your business in a sane way. Hey, I'm Scott Beckford. This is the I Love Mortgage Brokering podcast. And each week we bring you episodes to help you grow your business. And as I always say, there's no problem in your mortgage business someone else hasn't already solved. And I'm doing 2 series right now, one with Nate on how to double your volume, and then one with Taylor on how to double your efficiency and increase your revenue per hour. Before I jump into this, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Ownwell. Came up through in the episode, but Ownwell is an amazing tool for Canadian brokers. Helps them with staying engaged with your database. You can create deals from it. Open rates of 60 to 80%. Check them out at ownwell.ca/Scott and check out this conversation with Taylor. So, hey, this is episode 2, and the whole goal of this series, as we've talked about, is to double your revenue per hour by being efficient, by thinking about where your money goes. So maybe before we jump into some stuff that we're going to talk about, maybe give me an update for the beginning of this year, how things are going numbers-wise.
Yeah. So as of February 17th, I've funded $4,697,000. Gross paid on that would be $42,000. The net is $24,700. A big split on that is I elect to prepay my 15% split to Bricks.
Mm-hmm.
There's
so
lots
now
of benefits.
You're at 100% for the rest of the year then?
Yeah, now I'm at 100%. So yeah, the gross was substantially higher than what the net is. So that will grow as the year goes on, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of benefits to do that. And then the hours worked in the business was 64 hours and 27 minutes. So that is $383 an hour.
That's based on the gross though, right?
That's based on the net.
Based on the net. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's great. So you're using, just so people are listening, if you're jumping into this series, you're using a program called Toggle. That's why which you use to track your time, which is why you can be so specific. Yeah.
And so that net is my net commission, also my split that I pay to Kat, my team member. And then that's not a lot of hours to work for, 6 weeks, right? That's 64 hours, but I did spend 37 hours working on my business. So that would be, how to double my hourly rate. There's a lot of stuff I'm working on behind the scenes that doesn't add value to like the actual gross commission or net commission. But it's a long-term play. So
right.
I'm not including that in the hourly rate because it's not generating money at this point.
Right. You're just putting in the time in the business, not on the business, which will conceivably get less as you build in these systems and tools. Okay. So what are you working on right now in terms of there was some AI stuff or something you're working on? What is that? I know it's not quite ready, but let's give people a sense of it, and then we'll check in on it in the next call.
Yeah. So we are in tomorrow maybe would be beta testing phase. Essentially have an awesome guy working with us in the team. How it works is as soon as an application gets hit in Finmo, it will automate an email coming from Kat, my team member, and it will itemize all the documents required based on that Finmo application. And right now, and I know there's Smart Docs and there's Lendwell and there's these other softwares, but we wanted something more with a personal touch and something we can control. So right now it will populate a drafted email based on that, speaking in terminology that Kat uses.
Mm-hmm.
And then she will review and edit, and the system will get smarter as it goes. And then hopefully in the next couple of months, it will go completely autonomous. And so as soon as that application is done, it will send out this email. And then when the clients send either back through Finmo or through email, it will itemize everything in a drive, and it will have a checklist. And then it will just go back and forth to that client autonomously. And then it will also do a
so
conference.
So it's not, because doing the first email, a lot of tools do that. What you're doing is document collection using AI.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's live feedback to the client. And then it does a confidence rating on it. So if it gets, say, a T4 with no name, it will highlight like confidence level of 20% or something and flag it for human review. So then Kat will say, oh yeah, okay, this isn't good. And then she can just tick off what still needs to be collected.
And are the docs also being reviewed by AI as well as?
Yeah. So it'll be reviewed to make sure like they're clear. They have, address, name,
or sometimes
everything
people mislabel them. So they said you one thing, but they say the same document twice.
Yeah. And then it will also give us a quick summary of, hey, here's the last 2 years of their T1s. Here's, line 1500. Here's the income. So it will summarize a little bit there just so we can do like a real quick review. But basically we want to take that time where when the client's filling out the application and they're in the headspace of doing this mortgage, we want to be like bang, bang, bang. So then it's like all the docs are there within minutes. And then we're ready to underwrite right away.
I heard a stat from one of the software companies a while ago, and it was the number of people that when they're doing the mortgage application that have the documents on hand because they've looked them up, right? Especially the organized clients. And so if you ask for them at that time, like, well, I'm looking at it now anyway, I might as well send it to you. And so you'll increase the likelihood of getting the documents if you make it easy for them during the application process as opposed to later.
Yeah. And it's so much easier for us too, right? Like if I work on a file for a month of this back and forth and piecing it together, and it's the same with like Scotia underwriters, right? Like they want everything right away. They want to look at it once, get a commitment letter out, no conditions. We want to do the same thing. Otherwise, like to get back in that headspace of, oh, where was I with this app? How am I doing income? Like it's a waste of time, right? So that's the main objective.
Okay. So I think this is going to save Kat time. Is it going to save, I guess my question is, how is this going to save you time? Because this doesn't seem like it was something you were doing.
Yeah. So again, like my, I guess goals for first quarter would be make Kat's system as efficient as possible. Cause I think that's where AI is the best right now is her roles and responsibility. And then when she can do that, or when we can get AI to do that, then I can transfer her over to more of my, do some budgeting, maybe fulfilling some of the
you're trying to buy back her time so that she can buy back your time. It makes sense. And one of the ways to do that is to take this document collection and initial screening automate as much as possible. And so that's
we either like do that with her business, or she starts to take over more of my stuff, and then we have to hire somebody for her, and it just seems redundant.
Hire software before people if you can. I think that's good. And I think of it, I totally agree with you. Although some of the AI stuff is so good out there now, you can hardly tell AI from real, but I like AI not being between me and the customer, but being behind. So it's in the kitchen. I'm still out, there's still a person coming out and taking the order and doing some of those, if you think of it like a restaurant, but the AI tools that are working on behind the scenes are very good right now.
Yeah. So basically we'll manage AI. Like we don't want to be fully autonomous. We don't want that error of, clients can see that. So we'll still be managing it.
And it can't feel like AI. Okay. So that makes sense. You're going to get her time back. What do you think this is going to get back for her time on a monthly basis if this works the way you hope it does?
Oh man, I would say probably like 500 hours annually.
Okay. That's not insignificant. That's not insignificant.
Like I'm saying, if we did 100 files last year, she's probably likely spending 5 hours back and forth, emails, auditing, summarizing documents. Some are easier than others, but we do some more complex files. So I would say between that 400 to 500 hours, which is pretty significant, I think.
Yeah. And then the goal will be figure out what she's going to take off your plate, essentially. Okay. So what do you think is the next problem to solve? Let's assume this is going to work. Hopefully, within it, maybe the initial version will be a little bit janky, for a better word, but it'll evolve over the next few months. What do you think is the next big problem that you're going to want to solve in the business?
Yeah. So if I can free up her time, then I need to fill that sales funnel a little bit, right? So now that we have that system in place, and again, it's like beta, but it's within days here. I looked at what was successful for me last year, and database mining was the best use of my time. It was the easiest to secure clients, provide good service. But a big part of that was I used Ownwell, created about 42,000 in net commission paid out by using that system. And I had 100 seats for capacity. So anyone that does or doesn't know Ownwell, basically it sends out your monthly report and tells you if there's, ability to take out equity or what your prepayments are, et cetera. And I had 100 people on that kind of bare minimum list. And I just thought to myself, like, why would I not add another 100 people? Like if that created 42,000 in commission, if the numbers correlate,
if you can, even if you can
seats.
only get 24,000 from the second group, you're still way ahead. Right.
Yeah. So I guess, question to you would be good ideas to go out and get 100 mortgage statements and new clients that I can add to that list in the next couple of weeks.
So a couple thoughts. One, who do you have for other professionals that have databases? So it'd always be like, who knows the people you want to know? It could be your realtor partners, could be your financial planner, insurance persons, or anybody that you have a pretty good relationship with.
Yeah, financial planner, I think I'm going to try and push the most because I think it's a huge value add to them too. It's like, hey, we're looking after the client's net worth, and part of that is their primary residence. The real estate agents seem to love it, but they seem to love it more for themselves than like, oh, I need to go out and present this to clients.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to push the financial advisor. And then one person I know has switched from being a broker to going to work for a bank. And this was a couple of years ago. I just called them up and said, hey, with all those mortgages you did a couple of years ago that are likely coming up for renewal or only have a year left on their, term, what would it look like if I kind of bought that introduction? Like, we're not buying the book of business, but we're buying like funded mortgages in the last couple of years. You can introduce me and say, hey, this is Taylor. I'm stepping out of the business, but we want to make sure like clients are still being looked after. Taylor has this awesome software to monitor it. So I'm trying to structure a value add for both of us. Obviously, I want to fill those seats and compensate them fairly for it.
Right. It's going to be cool to A, see how long it takes you to fill them, and then B, fast forward the end of 2026 and see look at the first 100 and the second 100, what the revenue.
Oh yeah.
You'll see that combined, but like because I know you're so data driven, it's going to be cool to see what that looks like for this next 100.
Well, because if it's the same, like if it's $42,000 and you can just go, okay, all I need to do is just add seats.
And that becomes your number one market. I mean, that's really what Wally did down in the US. Like his whole game, I mean, he's got 30,000 seats in his, but that's his game was to just grow the number of people that he was marketing to on a monthly basis. It obviously worked really well for him. And so I think you're doing something on a smaller scale, but the same idea. I like this idea of a clear metric of 42,000 for 100 seats, and then seeing if you can, the next 100, what that does. The great part is you're not in a rush. I mean, you are yes, you kind of are in that you need to make significant improvements if you want to improve your revenue per hour, but it's not like you have to do 10 things to do it. You're better off to pick the one or two things that you really think are the highest probability rather than, which anybody listening, by the way, should do. You shouldn't be doing 5 different things. That's usually a problem.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of, I know it'll be like a slower start to this podcast series because I really have to build the system to take on the capacity. So this AI project, hopefully on the next episode, we'll be able to kind of comment more on that. But otherwise, if I did it the other way around, like if I built the funnel, I'd be too busy to allocate time to build in.
Here's what most brokers do, and this is what, and frankly, I'm not sure that I would. I think what you're doing is really smart. I'm not sure that my instinct would be to do it this way. Usually, we either just go out if we're good at making it rain. We just get more deals until we nearly drown our current staff, and then we hire somebody and hope to God it works out. The second option is to hire early. More people do the first one. I think the second one, people hiring in advance of the growth that they want, that would be I'd say 80% of people just keep growing until they burn their people out. Hopefully they don't quit, and then add the next staff member, usually too late. 20% will end up hiring early. And then I'd say like 2% do what you're doing, which is don't worry about trying to grow it yet. Focus on getting time back for your help that you have. And that way they can help you with other stuff, right? And then you're
making me nervous now. 2%.
No,
there's a reason why people aren't doing it.
I think it's actually smart. And I don't know that the truth is that until we had some of these tools, I don't know that it would have been possible. Like the stuff that you're having right now, you've already squeezed out. If in the last episode we talked about your process, you've squeezed out there's so little time in a file already that the only way you're going to get more out of it is not by adding more bodies. And especially since your goal is, again, if you wanted to just grow volume and didn't care about revenue, you could just add bodies and you wouldn't need to worry about it, right? You could just throw a person at it, but you're trying to make this as economically efficient as possible. So
yeah, and I mean part of that question there too is like you're talking about adding people earlier on. So at our Brick Summit 2 weeks ago or a week ago. That was one of the questions that was asked. Like I was up on the panel with Jeff Mudrick and Nate Atkins. And yeah, one of the questions was, what would you do if you were going to, restart, like start over again? Like, or what did you do that was successful? And I kind of got stumped on that question. I was like, oh, I don't know if I like have that great of an answer. But in my head, I was like, okay, I would do an energy audit. I'd figure out, write a journal every day, maybe 5 minutes at the end of the day, and figure out what was heavy, what was light, focus on the stuff that gave me energy, and then outsource the stuff that didn't sooner than I did. But then as the kind of day went on, and actually the next morning went on, I went up to that same individual and said, hey, I got to change my answer that I gave you on that panel. And I'll put you on the spot. What do you think the three things that, so again, Jeff Mudrick and Nick Atkins and myself, we were all on the stage together. What three things do you think we probably had in common that make us quote unquote successful?
Well, I would say that all of you are action oriented. So if I'm talking about traits or habits right now, not activities you did, but all of you are action oriented. All of you are coachable in that you find something that works and you just copy it and make it your own. You don't waste time on. So I've observed all of you guys did that really well. And then all of you are resourceful in that you're going to run into problems, but you don't blame. When you run into a problem, you just go, okay, how do I solve it? You just have this mindset that's like, okay, I'll figure it out. And I think those things are what I see in terms of characteristics. Now, in terms of your answers, I can't remember what their answers were. But the answer, do you remember their answers? Because I don't remember their answers specifically.
Yeah, Jeff was good. He was like, I wouldn't change a thing. Like I obviously, did well, and I would just repeat the same thing I did, which was go out and drum up business, like make all those 4 slides and calls until you don't have any more capacity.
Yeah, and then he basically did what Peter Matheny, when I talked to him, Peter does, he's got thousands of past clients. And when I met him before the podcast, he said to me, if I were to start over, I would go spend all my time and energy to get 250 clients. And then I'd spend all my time and energy marketing those 250 clients. And that was 15 years ago. And it's the same today. What you're saying is you've got that first batch of clients. Maybe I just go get more of those. Now that I've got my first 100, and you realize how effective it is to have, a way to convert those existing clients into more deals. But go ahead. What are you going to say?
Well, yeah. So what I noticed between the three of us, and something I had like an epic fail earlier on, like my first year and a half, 2 years, is physical and mental health. And like, it's harder to quantify, but right. I think most brokers, like when you get busy, you're like, hey, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and hit the gym. And then you like mistakenly check your phone and there's an email and you're like, okay, I'll just respond to this one quick email. I'll submit this document. And then before you know it, like the day's going and you totally missed your workout. So what I noticed between the three of us, like I think Jeff did 3 Ironmans in 2025.
Yeah.
Nate, like guy probably works out 8 times a week. Like they invest in themselves first. Like you don't do 3 Ironmans in a year by prioritizing your business.
Yes.
So something I really screwed up on in the first couple of years is like I just put that on the back burner because I just neglected it. And again, like being a numbers guy, it's harder to quantify. But in 2025, I spent about $4,000 on physical health, and that was like naturopath, chiro, massage, acupuncture. And I know that because I have a HSA account, like health spending account. And then I spend about $10,000 on mental health, and that's like I went like on a 1-week retreat to a Hoffman like therapy session, like lots of just investing in self and prioritizing self. So then you can show up in other ways for life. And I truly believe like you find any successful people, they're investing in their physical and mental health above anything else.
Right. Otherwise, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. Okay. Hold on. I got to ask you about the Hoffman thing. How was that? You were gone for a week?
Yeah, it was incredible.
So I know what it is, but tell people if they don't know who we're talking about, who that is. It's not Hasselhoff. It's not,
Yeah. You can search online for it. It's interesting. It's kind of like Fight Club. Like you don't talk about Fight Club, right?
Right.
What's the number one rule? So you will not find a lot of information online, but basically I think there was about 34 people in my class. There's 15 countries around the world that host this, lots of retreats. Like I think the States has a few different locations. Canada has one. So yeah, you go to this retreat, hand in your phone, hand in your computer, and like from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m, you're basically doing like therapy that goes back generations. Like you're figuring out where your personal patterns come from, what triggers you, how to deal with them. It was just like, yeah, a life-changing experience. Happy, like if anyone wants to talk about it off air, happy to connect and kind of discuss a little bit more of the process. But I think the biggest part of that is like, you're going away for a week. And yeah, fortunately, like I had Kat already up and running. So she kind of took care of business for that week. But like, again, like investing in your relationships and your physical, mental health above all is, I think, going to beat anything else you can do.
That's the lever that moves the small hinge that moves the big door, as they say, because it is absolutely critical. Otherwise, you run out of energy. I like your energy audit idea, though. I might steal that because 5 minutes, and it's like, when do I do it? It's easy. 5 minutes at the end of the day. That's an easy thing for me to do. And yeah, I think if you're listening to this, I've not heard it that way before. So I'm going to copy this and I'll get back to you on what I noticed in the next month on my energy.
Well, it's kind of like your Whoop, right? Like your Whoop health monitor, trying to figure out like if you do your journal every day, like what X amount of caffeine, like how that adds to your sleep, your recovery, all that. So similar type of thing. And then, yeah, one thing I like looking back on when I was most invested in like my physical health, it was interesting. I actually did an Ironman like Jeff. I did an Ironman in 2015. And a week before the Ironman, I went to a wedding on Vancouver Island and I met my wife at that point. I am 100% confident, maybe 99%. I probably never would have met her. I either would have not been on Vancouver Island because the Ironman was in Vancouver or in Whistler. So like, you do these things in life that like absolutely alter the way your life will forever be. So anything that like physically I've done or mentally I've done that has provided value has then given like an amazing.
It opens up other doors, and there's a ripple effect that can happen from this, right? You said, right? Like you wouldn't have been at that. I think you told me that. You told me a story. Didn't you ride a bike? You rode a bike really far one time. What was this story? I recall.
I was working in Malaysia at the time, 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off. So I had no bike.
Right.
I was doing some running, but I kind of threw out my back like a few weeks before. So I wasn't doing a lot of running. But anyways, I got home, flew to Canada, jumped on my bike, rode to Vancouver because I figured like I needed to get some kilometers under the belt.
From where to Penticton or Kelowna?
No, Kelowna to Vancouver. Took 2 days. Like I stopped in Hope.
Just so people know how far, that's like 360 kilometers or something, right?
Yeah, it was like 450 kilometers. I had 2 pop tires, spent the night in Hope. And then that was it. That was my training for the Ironman because I was like, well, if I can do that, then I should be ready for the Ironman. Turns out I was not that physically ready, but like mentally, it was the challenge I was looking for.
Right. That's okay. Sorry, I got you off track there. I knew there was a story that you had told me before, which I thought was hilarious. That I'm going to ride my bike to Vancouver, and we're not talking prairies, man. There's mountains here. This is some serious climbs, right? Which route did you go? I got to ask that.
Yeah, I went over the connector, Coquihalla. So
yeah, that is a mountain. You guys, you're not like, if you've ever driven it, it is not flat. It would have been a grind. I mean, going down would have been nice, but the up would have sucked.
Yeah, there were some big trucks passing you too. So it was not like the best decision.
But now that you have kids, no, you wouldn't do that. But back then, whatever. Okay, so back to this. So basically, your answer would change to really investing in yourself, and that you're talking about health. You're talking about mental health, physical health, because then you can actually show up and do this job career, right? Yeah.
Like how many times do I answer the phone and I'm like, I'll see a client or an underwriter's name on the phone and just be like, oh, okay, here we go. But like, if I get my exercise and like I, have a bit of time to myself to prepare for the day, I am such a better broker and I can deal with clients faster and more efficiently, and they get a better service.
They get a better version of you because you put that time in. Yeah, I think that's really good.
So again, like super hard to quantify, but 2025 was my best year, lowest stress I had, and definitely the most I invested in that part. Like I did a couple half marathons, a triathlon, like just sign up for those things. And then the other big takeaway I had from the summit was actually Megan McDonald put on an amazing speech.
Oh, wasn't she great?
She's such a good speaker, man. Like, so charismatic and like such a good sense.
She was running on no sleep, and and I don't know that she didn't have a single or ah in the entire thing, and she's jet lagged, no sleep, and she just crushes it. I think, my God, you're good.
Yeah, she was on it. But one of the things I took away from her was she had a saying that says, "I cut first." which to make that connection with someone, like you have to be the one to be vulnerable first. Well, you don't have to, but that's her approach to it. And so, yeah, that was pretty powerful to me as well, because, you just kind of forget that this is a connection based industry.
Yeah.
And it, again, like to circle back to my first answer there, it's hard to do when you're not, at peace with yourself physically or mentally.
Right.
So, yeah,
that's really good, man. Pure gold if you're listening to this. Okay. So what's the next problem to solve? Let's assume we talked about that. What do we think the next, the next problem we talked about was getting these 100 seats filled. So your financial advisor is one. This guy with the past database is two. Have you thought about what you're going to, it sounds like it's just a matter of, can you make the economics work with this guy who left the industry? But with the financial advisor, have you thought about what your approach is going to be? What you're going to say to them?
I mean, he already has about 6 seats. Like, so in Ownwell, you can allocate seats to people. He's filled up 6. He's very happy with it. I think it just comes down to, like, does he have time for it? So I'm working with Dan from Ownwell on how to, basically get that list and get staff from Ownwell to upload it.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have any other suggestions or?
So do you think that and how many clients do you think he has? Have you asked him that question?
Yeah, probably. Oh, well, I haven't asked, but I would say a few hundred.
Okay. And how have you tracked how many referrals you've sent him in the last year?
Yeah, we send each other a ton of referrals, probably like 30 each.
So of the 90 files you did last year, how many came from him, you think?
About between 20, 25.
Okay, that's a lot. So he's obviously referring you, because sometimes, and then you're sending him everything that your clients that make sense.
Yeah, I don't do MPP. I just send everything to him. I think it's a better
product. Yeah, they can have their own coverage versus something that's owned by, that's basically tied to the lender. Okay, so that sounds like it's already working. I guess the biggest thing is that I think it's the hurdle of, like, how do you get the other people from his database in there? And what is the hurdle, do you think, just that he doesn't have time to get them to you? Or do you think it's that he is not clear on the value that it's going to provide? Obviously, he likes you.
I think it's time. I think he loves the value that it provides. Like, yeah, he's used it. There's clients that are there ready to go.
So maybe the way this gets solved is, once you're going to buy back some of Kat's time to help you out, maybe this is something she can help you with. Maybe you say, okay, great, Kat will connect with, he probably has an assistant. So you say, let's take you guys out of it completely. Because then the thing is, if you give it to your 2 assistants, it probably gets done faster than if the 2 of you are trying to do it. If she has the capacity, once this software is working, it might be that you say, okay, let me get Kat to connect with her, and we will take care of make the whole thing really simple for you. And Kat could lean on Ownwell to help as well. But, like, maybe then there's a way to, kind of like when you're trying to collect documents from a client and say, let me ask your accountant, I'll just take care of it for you. And you're like, okay, great, you can do that for me, because it's an easy yes for them. Maybe there's a way to do that. Make it an easy yes. Or connect them with the Ownwell and say, hey, the software provider has an ability. Like, I don't know if that's possible, but something like that could work as well.
I guess other question to you then, would you set minimum requirements? Like, hey, we'll take every client just full stop, or we'll take clients that have a minimum $500,000 mortgage balance left, or a renewal coming up in the next 2 years, or like,
well, so there's 2 ways to think of this. Which clients do you think you can add the most value to for his business? If you were to, and then you probably want to be somewhat selective. If he's got more than 100, if you don't want to use all 100 seats just randomly, you might want to think about who are the clients that you can best serve. Because every time you serve one of his clients, you make him look like a rock star. And you're better off to pick the clients, at least initially, that you are going to be able to make look like a rock. So maybe it's the people that have mortgages coming up in the next couple of years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or, I look at rates above a certain number. Either could be that too. Rates above a certain number, maturity dates at a certain time. Does he have that info?
I think he has a lot of it. Like, they're pretty good that way. So I would think, a mortgage that's funded between 2022 to 2024 would be a good spot to start. But then I also look at it like, well, if you're getting those monthly reports and you're happy with it, you might be better to refer. Like, maybe I'll get referrals from that. Like, maybe it actually turns into an additional lead gen instead of just, funding that specific mortgage. So I'm kind of torn between the two of,
here's the thing, like, the adding seats is not expensive. And if you're getting anywhere near the metric, there's 2 things. If you're getting into a metric, who cares? Like, it's not like you'd be like, oh, I need another 100 seats, get another 100 seats for the cost of it. It's very low. The other part is that it'd be interesting on the 42K, how much of it was referral based and how much of it was actually, right? So then you can now know that of the 42K, maybe 12, I'm just making this up, but 12,000 was deals that were indirectly came from that, from conversations from that, but they weren't like somebody says, this is great, talk to my brother, and then you help with their brother. So if you were able to define that, then that would let you know what percent of that revenue is actually tied to in not the actual client that's in the Ownwell database.
Yeah. On the first round, there was like no referrals. Like no one has reached out to be like, hey, Taylor has this awesome software.
Right.
But it's still relatively new. So
the other place you could go to get more clients is you could go to the clients that you've helped with this and say to them, hey, okay, I just want to get some feedback from you on Ownwell. What did you think? And this could be a video. Got a feedback from you on Ownwell. You've saved them some money. Hey, listen, right now we've been able to secure a couple other seats. Do you have any family members that have mortgages that you would find this useful? Because we'd love to be able to take care of them like we took care of you. And maybe your existing database can help you find, because if you could get people that would send you their, my brother, my cousin, whatever. Well, I mean, Good Life does this as a gym. I mean, they're not really a gym; they're a marketing machine, and so they get people to tell you about other people, and then they just grow that way. So I think maybe there's a program you could run with something like that.
Yeah, that is wicked. I love that. Okay,
and then nothing you can tie into this. So how do you win your mortgage payment? You could tie that in there too. So you could say,
oh yeah, do the referral.
So the referral, and also just so you know, we've got this, the company I'm with, that we do a win your mortgage payment. And so if you give me every person that you connect me with, and we'll make sure we can help them and stuff. And then we'll enter you into a draw to win your mortgage payment. So then it's like, now they've got incentive on top of it. So then I always like to try to gamify things whenever possible, because, we're all basically just children with beards and long hair.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So those three things, I don't
know that you need more. Than you could try those and then see what happens, right? And then from there. But again, if you can get the metrics even close to that, man, I would not stop at 100. But I like the idea of having a win. This is a very winnable goal for you, and you could probably do it in a relatively short period of time.
I would like to get it done, like kind of saying like fill 100 seats in 100 days in my own head, and that puts me in advance of the fall, where some lenders come out with like a rate promo. So if there is that opportunity, like that 2-month kind of window where I can switch a bunch of people over, I want to be ready for it. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. Before we wrap up, anything I should have asked you that I didn't? You think that our listeners find helpful?
Yeah. One other thing, which people probably think I'm an idiot for not doing earlier, but hey, this is about transparency and what's working, is what I did this year in January. I got a stand-up desk and a massive monitor. And yeah, again, like hard to quantify, but at the end of the day, like my energy levels are substantially higher than before. I was just like on a MacBook Air, hunched over on a chair. So if anyone is
you did 90 files on a MacBook Air with no secondary monitor.
Yeah, I've been listening.
Dude, I've been thinking about doing this. It's like you're like a contractor using a hammer, and it's like, dude, there's air nailers out there. You don't need to pound every nail in by hand.
Seriously. And again, this goes back to like the first point was like I knew this was a priority for years. I just haven't done it because I'm like, I'm just busy on the business. Work. But like you got to prioritize these little efficiencies. Like it may slow you down for a day while you set it up, but after that, like it's been changing. So life change. So anyone that is
on the fence, do that. That reminds me. Remember Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? He talks about the 2 woodcutters and the one who stops to sharpen the axe. Looks like he's stopping. And he's like, how does he get more wood cut? It's because and we don't chop wood, but we are knowledge workers. And if you can, sharpening the axe is taking care of your health. It is taking care of your physical and your mental health, making sure your work environment space is effective for you. All those things are going to make you show up better. So I love it. Sharpen the axe, brother. Okay. Thanks, Taylor. Okay. Good chatting with you.
Yeah, you bet. Talk to you soon.
Hey, hope you found this useful. I know I did. Couple of takeaways. Think about first, the energy audit is something I'm going to absolutely do. Just it's 5 minutes a day. Take it, look at the stuff I did, what gave me energy, what took it away, and then figure out how do I hire to get someone who's really better at those things than me. Second thing is that we talked about here investing in mindset, and one of the things that we do, and a bunch of you are already doing this with me, but I do a daily mortgage mindset call where we're going through a book right now. We went through a book called The Big Leap. Right now we're in the book Atomic Habits, and we go super deep. So a lot of people read these books, and I did a survey on the call. We have 58 people on this call this morning. And I asked them, I said, how many people have read the book? A lot of them had. And then I said to them, what's one new habit that you can track to installing after reading the book? And no one could think of anything. And the reality is that we consume content, books, podcasts like this, short form content on social, and most of it doesn't lead to a whole lot of change and or upgrades in your life. And so the goal with us is to go super deep and not wide. And they've been a ton of fun. I absolutely love doing these conversations. And so if you are wanting to build better habits and work on your mindset, check out these calls. There'll be a link in the show notes to this, or you can go to ilovemortgagebrokering.com. And as I always say, there's no problem in your mortgage business someone else hasn't already solved. Your problem is who's got the answer. This podcast is designed to provide some of those answers. Thanks for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.